2.8 When to use the supply and demand model. As we've seen, the supply and demand model can help us to understand and predict real world events in many markets. Through Chapter 10, we discuss perfectly competitive markets in which the supply and demand model is a powerful tool for predicting what will happen to market equilibrium if underlying conditions, tastes, incomes, and prices of inputs change. A perfectly competitive market, Chapter 8, is one in which all firms and consumers are price takers. No market participant can affect the price. Perfectly competitive markets have 5 characteristics that result in price-taking behavior. 1. There are a large number of buyers and sellers. 2. All firms produce identical products. 3. All market participants have full information about prices and product characteristics. 4. Transaction costs are negligible. 5. Firms can easily enter and exit the market. When there are many firms and consumers in the market, no single firm or consumer is a large enough part of the market to affect the price. If you stop buying bread, or if one of the many thousands of wheat farmers stops selling the wheat used to make the bread, the price of bread will not change. In contrast, if there is only one seller of a good or service, a monopoly, Chapter 11, that seller is a price setter and can affect the market price because demand curves slope downward. A monopoly can increase the price it receives by reducing the amount of a good it supplies. Firms are also price setters in an oligopoly, a market with only a small number of firms, or in markets in which they sell differentiated products and consumers prefer one product to another. Chapter 14. In markets with price setters, the market price is usually higher than that predicted by the supply and demand model. That doesn't make the supply and demand model generally wrong. It means only that the supply and demand model does not apply to markets with a small number of sellers or buyers. In such markets, we use other models. If consumers believe all firms produce identical products, consumers do not prefer one firm's good to another's. Thus, if one firm raised its price, consumers would all buy from the other firm. In contrast, if some consumers prefer Coke to Pepsi, Coke may charge more than Pepsi and not lose all its customers. If consumers know the prices all firms charge and one firm raises its price, that firm's customers will buy from the other firms. If consumers have less information about a product's quality than the firm that produces it, the firm can take advantage of consumers by selling them the inferior quality goods or by charging a much higher price than that charged by other firms. In such a market, the observed price may be higher than that predicted by the supply and demand model. The market may not exist at all. Consumers and firms cannot reach agreements, or different firms may charge different prices for the same good. Chapter 18. If it is cheap and easy for a buyer to find a seller and make a trade, and if one firm raises its price, Consumers can easily arrange to buy from another firm. That is, perfectly competitive markets typically have very low transaction costs. The expenses over and above the price of the product or finding a trading partner and making a trade for the product. These costs include the time and money spent gathering information about a product's quality and finding someone with whom to trade. Other transaction costs include the costs of writing and enforcing a contract, such as the cost of a lawyer's time. If transaction costs are very high, no trades at all might occur. In less extreme cases, individual trades may occur, but at a variety of prices. The ability of firms to enter and exit a market freely leads to a large number of firms in a market and promotes price taking. Suppose a firm could raise its price and make a higher profit. If other firms cannot enter the market, this firm would not be a price taker. However, if other firms can quickly and easily enter the market, the higher profit will encourage entry until the price is driven back to its original level. Thus, the supply and demand model is not appropriate in markets in which there are only one or a few sellers, such as the market for local water and sewage services. Firms produce differentiated products such as music CDs. Consumers know less than sellers about the quality of markets such as used cars or their prices. There are high transaction costs such as nuclear turbine engines or high entry and exit costs such as aircraft manufacturing. Markets in which the supply and demand model have proved useful include agriculture, finance, labor, construction, services, wholesale, and retail. Markets with many firms and consumers, and where firms sell identical products.